Welcome to a brief introduction of Outlaws Adventures in the Old West. This is the second edition, it's been out a little while now, and the kit I'm going to use today is from the introductory module, which you can print out. It comes in sort of 5 A4 US letter sheets, and the counters here you can see I've mounted and prepared. There's a rule book on top of that, which you can print off or you can read online if you like. It's a full colour, full illustrated, lots of examples, and I think it's about 17 pages long. I should know as I wrote it, but I can't quite remember. 16 pages long. This one's a little bit longer, it's the full rule book, so it's got extra scenarios and adventures, and it's got a rivals campaign system at the back there. So everything you see here, including a full colour play aid. Once you've played the rules a couple of times, this is all you really need. Most of the information is on there. Now the full game comes with lots and lots of characters, but the introductory version comes with 4 characters. And these are these 4 characters. We've got Scott, Tom, Lee and Robert. And it comes with 1 map board. This is the map board here. It comes in the introductory module, and it's called the Pioneer and Telegraph. And it's got the Telegraph office and the Pioneer, which is the Dead Rock newspaper. Dead Rock's the town in which most of the scenarios are set. If you do use the introductory version, you want to move on to the full version. There's not much duplication, so you get this board's not in the full version. These characters aren't. So if you print them off and mount them, you can carry on using them. They're not redundant. So each character, if we look at Robert, who's down here, comes with a character counter. So there's Robert. It's him standing up. That's him lying prone, and he also has an action counter, because it's a chip pull system. We look at Robert here. Here's Robert's character card. Tells you all his traits and attributes. And as we can see looking at here, that he's pretty good with a rifle. So he's got a +3 rifle skill there. So he's got a special skill of Deadeye rifle. Can't quite read it from there. Draw an additional wound counter each time you draw a hit. So very useful. This is the action track here. Character has 4 actions, 4 to become unconscious, and then they lose those actions from wounds. And a little extra information up here, it tells us that Robert is right-handed. So there's Robert's character card, and then every character, and these are separate, because you only need to print off a few of these, and then when you get the full game you just change the character card over. This is sort of additional information. So as it is, it's got an ammo track here, it's got items that are being carried here, and it's got items being held. So at the moment Robert's not holding anything, but he does on him a Spencer carbine. He does have a 1 reload, 1 set of ammo for his Spencer carbine, and the carbine's fully loaded. Okay, it's got 7 bullets. We also have a couple of townsfolk counters. Okay, these are the good folk of Dead Rock who sort of wander around getting your way. They don't normally last that long, they generally disperse and get out of the way once the gunfire starts, but they can get in your way, and they can occasionally have a shot at someone. And they also have an activation counter for the chip pull system. On top of that we have a range of wound counters. Okay, these are randomly drawn and they have information such as, let's just draw one randomly. Serious leg wound, -2, so it's the number of actions that are lost, and it tells you here that he's going to fall and he's not going to be able to run. And it has a red side, that's when you first get it, and it flips over after a turn to this side, so you can see that this serious leg wound is going to get worse because it's gone to -3, so you're going to not very good, and the character can't run. So they could stand up then, but they're not going to be able to run. The only other thing we need to show you is the gun dice before we begin. Now the system does use gun dice. If I showed you, what have I done with that? If you look on the introductory sheet here, it has all the gun dice here. Let's put that the right way up. And if you don't want to print them off, you can just roll a regular dice and cross-reference. I quite like using gun dice. And you can see on the gun dice it has various bits of information. Okay, normally a number. Okay, so that's 2. So that means if Robert's shooting someone, anyone within 2, he will hit. Of course, he can put his gun skill on top of that. Handgun skill of 1. So basically, if he rolls a 2, anyone within 3 squares, he potentially hits. And you can see there's 4s. There's a miss. The other thing that's changed from the first edition is it's got some extra information on these dice. So When I explain a bit about actions later on, you can see if you take further actions, you can turn misses into better shots. So it says BS at the bottom, so that means this character's take a best shot. Okay, with a handgun that would cost him 3 actions, and that would give him a range of 8, so that'd be a really good shot. And there's a steady aim, and it's got best shot as well. So if you take a best shot, basically if you take a best shot, all the faces become available apart from the 1 miss. If you take a steady aim, 4 of the faces become available. If you just do a sort of a standard shot, okay, you've got 3 of the faces that are going to hit, so you've got a 50% chance of hitting, and you've only got the lower numbers on there, so it helps to aim. And there's a pistol, handgun dice, there's a rifle dice, there's a shotgun dice. Okay, and you need a regular 6-sided dice as well to play the game. Something that I'm using today is a dice for the townsfolk characters. So when this is rolled, it says left, the townsfolk counter will move to its left. Well, you know, there's a chart in the rules for doing this. I've just made a dice up, and the template is available from the website if you need to use it. I just quite like being able to roll dice. And they are the main components of the game. Okay, let's look at a few counters in a bit more detail. So really, well, let's look at the weapons. So like I said, there's quite a few different weapon types in the full game. There's only 4 presented in the introductory game, but it gives you a good flavour of the system. So here we have the Spencer carbine. Okay, we see it tells you the Spencer carbine at the top. It's a wide counter as opposed to a handgun. If I can just find a handgun, there we go. And the reason the different sides of the counters, they fit into the left hand, right hand. Okay, so obviously if Lee's armed with a Colt 41. When he draws it and puts it into his hand, he's right-handed, he put it into his right hand. Okay, he can use his left hand, but he's going to have a penalty for that. Obviously, he can still use his left hand for something else. He can carry a bag of money or another 2 guns if he wishes, or depending on what the scenario objective is. Obviously, a rifle's a 2-handed weapon, so it takes both hands up. Okay, so what other information we have on here? Well, it tells us that it carries a maximum of 7 bullets. It tells us at the bottom that it's a brawl +1, so basically you can use it in a brawl, whack people with the butt. It's quite useful. And one of the key bits of information is the bottom right hand corner. It says 1/3. So that means if Robert manages to hit somebody, successfully shoots them with his rifle, he will draw 3 random wound counters because it's a 1-3 weapon, and he can choose one of those to apply. So basically, some more accurate weapons, particularly the rifles, allow you to aim. There's a certain amount of aiming going on here, so therefore you can choose which one you think is going to be most useful, or if they're in cover, which one's actually going to be you'll be able to use. His serious leg wound, if he's behind a bench or something, you're not going to be able to apply that at all. Left shoulder, well, if he's using a 2-handed weapon, yeah, you could use that. If he's shooting with his right hand, his left shoulder is assumed to be hiding maybe behind the corner of a wall or a piece of cover. You might not be able to apply that one. So, you know, there's various, we'll come across that later, various rules to apply there. If we look at something like a Colt 45, which Tom is currently armed with, same information, Colt 45 can carry 6 bullets, and down here it's a 1/1. Now most of the handguns only draw 1. Well, in their basic form, you can do different actions and ranges can affect that, but basically draw 1, you choose 1. And you notice this has an asterisk. This is a high impact gun. So for instance, if I draw one of these randomly, if for instance he's shot another character, and we've got here belly graze, -1. For the first turn anyway, that character had -2 actions. It's got a big impact. Then it will recover after that to its standard value. They're basically the components of the game. So next up, we will play a few turns.